Happy New Year, Halo fans. It's 2025. Holy crap. It's also been a minute since I posted a YouTube video. I've got excuses, of course. I was hacked. Yeah, so that actually happened. In case you didn't know, I was scammed by a false sponsor, and we had to basically go viral on Twitter to get the attention of Team YouTube to save the channel, which was crazy and something I've never experienced. I'm very grateful for everyone that went out of their way to show support and, you know, give the post attention. I have more that I'd like to say on it and more that I've already said in various live streams. I got a lot of people to thank. I might make an official video. It was also very stressful and a huge wake-up call that I just didn't see coming. Like, I thought I was going to lose the channel. Like, am I starting over? Am I even on the right trajectory, you know, making this Halo content? Like, you know, and it was beautiful, I think, in a way too, because the support that I saw and the way the channel was recovered, I think it was, you know, a nice message. And maybe I should keep going. So I took a second, I hit the reset button, enjoyed the holidays. Hope you guys did too. And now we're back to it. 2025 is actually an exciting year for the esports side of Halo. While the game remains imperfect, I think the competition is something we can look forward to. But we're going to keep things simple today. This is a movement guide for Midship and Fortress. I made this a while back, hoping that Midship would come back to ranked. It still hasn't. But the techniques in this video you can apply anywhere in the game. And some of it I'm confident a lot of you still don't know about even in 2025. Just a note, by the way, my controller overlay was kind of bugging out in this video and I didn't want to re-record footage. So if you see an X on the controller, just don't follow the overlay. And that's it. Enjoy. And don't forget to sub. We lost about 1,000 subs when we got hacked. We got to rebuild.
And then running snipers.
All right.
He's underneath.
Barty's one shot back there, base.
Running, Shy.
Already, okay.
Already one shot under there.
Running it to you, Gunny.
Is our base there? Our tower, I think.
Our tower.
Fox is on me with sniper. One kid.
Dead.
Let's get sniping.
Last guy sniping. Two shot right there. One shot.
I just hit the run of a lifetime.
That's how you do it, baby.
Okay, let's talk movement now. We'll start with midship. There is a lot we could touch on. I do want to keep this brief, though. When it comes to sliding on this map, I think a big thing to keep in mind is just understanding how you want to approach curb slides, depending on the shape and the structure of the object you're sliding off of. Like, if anything has an upward slope at the end of it, like this, for example, it'll ruin your curb slide timing. If you want to get a consistent curb slide off this, you want to go for an earlier slide timing. It's going to give you a weaker boost, but it ensures that you get the slide out every time through this area. Because of that upward slope, it sort of props you up. You want direct downward momentum for the best, most consistent, fastest curb slides. And if you want to force like downward momentum through the base, instead of coming off of this, which you still could do and still could get like a useful boost, you could try approaching your curb slides on angles to get them out earlier and still get the speed that you're looking for. I sort of wrap off the side of the arm, and I do it coming down this way as well. Wrap off with my left stick on a diagonal and sort of turn my aimer back in while timing slide as I'm falling right before I hit the ground. And it kind of gives you this option for like a fast attack around these awkwardly shaped sort of like slope surfaces. Same thing applies here. Line up on kind of the edge of it and then sort of come off the right side on the edge. It takes some practice. You get the hang of it though, and you can really speed through these areas very quickly. These objects are kind of awkward because they're shaped downwards like this. If I just go straight and try to slide, I'm going to get too much upward momentum and sort of get propped up and not be able to do a proper slide forward. But if I sort of match the curve and I do an angle to the right with my left stick, I can hit like a angled curb slide out with a lot of speed. So you have to kind of go along with the shape of the object and do something that complements the shape of the object if you want to guarantee that high-speed movement. And that applies around the entire map. Like anything with a downslope is a super slide opportunity, right? The more downward momentum before the slide, the more of an opportunity you have for a big boost. Now, if I go straight down this ramp, I can still get a boost. But if I kind of create a curb slide off the down slope like this on an angle, I can access a huge boost this direction, right? These downward slopes also give me access to curb slides from higher ledges than are normally possible. Like here I can create this connection to the wall sheet, and then because this is downward sloped, if I sprint off it at the right angle and with the right slide timing, I can jet across the entire map. And then of course this applies to crazier areas of the map like up on P3, which we've seen with Broward, where you can, if you hit it perfectly, like it's not just like the timing of the slide, the angle that you have, everything needs to be perfect if you want to launch all the way to the window. Like I didn't make it that time either, right? So it's got to be frame perfect. On top of the fact that this is just super risky. You're sitting on P3, which is the most vulnerable angle on the entire map. and sliding across the open space. So the only circumstance where it would make sense would be if everybody was dead on the map. And for whatever reason, you would need to make this rotation. So it's not exactly logical to use all of these slides, but understanding how to pull them off in the right situations can get you to camo faster, especially if you know some of the fancier techniques like edge lineups, where I kind of just land on the edge and turn off and hit slide as I'm sort of dropping through the air. I can get this sort of twisted curb slide through mid. There's so many different creative ways you can access this stuff. Apart from that, when it comes to just like jumping around, there's a few important things to keep in mind. These objects are sort of awkward. If you want to crouch jump over this, you can, but you have to approach it from like this spacing, jump, hold, crouch, and you'll sort of ride up it. If I do it from too far, I can't hit it with a crouch jump. If I'm like right in front of it and I try to crouch jump, it doesn't work either. You need like a specific spacing that allows you to ride up it. Otherwise, you might as well just hit a quick clamber just to make sure you get up. And know your routing when you do this. Like if you want to do it backwards, like clamber and then jump straight backwards as a physical edge here, and then jump again and you get behind this window and kind of create it into a sequence, right? Land here and sort of connect it into some kind of a curb slide. If you want to get to the top of the base from the bottom here, you can walk up this ledge. See how it pops me up like that? Kind of aim for this angle and then time a jump late and you can get up and clamber. You can do it on both sides. It's trickier on this side because it's taller and thinner. You can also clamber this Gandhi ledge at just about any point. I think if you hold crouch, it works more consistently. So maybe jump, hold, crouch. If you want to get this side of it, jump, hold, crouch, and like turn into the ledge and it'll create a clamber. So you could be a little bit closer to the base itself and still sort of finesse it. Sprinting kind of helps you jump a little bit higher as well. But in a clutch situation when you're down low and you want to get that high ground quickly, it's useful. These lifts, by the way, are very vulnerable. It's also possible to short lift. Nice little throwback to classic Halo. If I jump, hold, crouch, then it does give me like a slightly lower altitude. I want to try to get into the lift at the highest possible altitude while holding crouch, and that seems to give me the shortest possible lift. So if I like maximize that by jumping off of this and holding crouch, that wasn't the greatest one, but you see how low the lift was. There's a few other different unique sort of jumps like here up the fin, and then you can clamber this if you want that like sneaky quick angle. This whole wall is accessible. If you're really tight with your crouch jump, it's possible to kind of like either clamber or skip your clamber up to this wall early and sort of get to P2 from this type of angle, or get to P3 from that angle earlier. While you are up in P2, you can sort of slide jump, hold crouch, get in the hang of doing this backwards. Like you should be really comfortable getting up into P3 while shooting backwards, right? That's extremely important on this map. And that sort of covers it for midship for now. I'll show some flag runs as well.
Where you are exposed, Spartan. Relocation. You are exposed, Spartan. Flag capture.
Now for Fortress, of course, it's a brand new space to kind of move and jump around on. It is pretty cool. Credit to, I think it's McRips, who's the main guy who made this. My biggest gripe with this map is it's symmetrical, but it's not symmetrical. Like there are a lot of proportional errors with this map, and I don't know if this is like something that was like an oversight, like if the developer is aware of it. Like one side of the map is slightly taller than the other in a lot of different spaces, and it makes things very awkward. Like this area right here, you can crouch jump clear this, and it does work with some perfect spacing. You got to be really perfect with how you approach this, and it's like nearly impossible to shoot and crouch jump over or have your reticle ready, crouch jump at the same time. But the red side of the map, everything is very slightly shorter, making it just a little bit more possible and accessible, which sort of just messes with your head because you learn a muscle memory on the red side and then it doesn't apply to the blue side. And this applies with like so many different areas of this map that it's very inconvenient. And I'm not sure if it's like the map, if they're not aware, if they just didn't test it or something. Like this ledge here is slightly taller than the same ledge on the red side of the map, meaning that it affects everything. It affects the way the curb slides feel. It affects the tightness of your crouch jump and how close or far you have to be from the ledge to make it work. Same with like the spacing between certain objects, like sliding off and landing on this box. I think this one is closer, but if I go to the red side and slide off this box, to connect. This is farther away. One of them is farther, very slightly, to the point where, I think it's this one that's farther, to the point where if I want to turn and kind of shoot at the same time and create this sort of like seamless connection, it's not as intuitive on one side than it is the other. I wish I had play tested this map and given feedback in advance. See how there's nothing here? So if I sprint along this wall, jump, clamber, I can easily access this like alternative way to get to this lookout point, which is very convenient. You get shot out of this situation, you sort of drop down and you jump back in with a sneaky challenge point that's useful. The red side of the map, it's like not conveniently accessible because there's an object jutting out the wall, blocking it from making it possible. Now, it is still possible. It's just way harder to do. If you sprint into a wall, it actually increases your movement speed by about 5 to 15%. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It's a weird mechanic. I have to sprint against this wall to get extra movement speed and jump and sort of like turn out and fade in and still clamber. It's tricky. Tricky to the point where it's almost not worthwhile to go for. And it's just an asymmetricality that makes the map sort of aggravating in certain areas. Even down to the structure of like little columns. Like see how these little columns have like physical ledges. So I can curb slide off of these potentially. The other side doesn't have that. So this is not possible. And the fact that these are jutting out changes the way that it like changes your routing. Like if I want to hit a perfect curb slide angled, the angle is tighter and there's more of a chance I'm going to bump something on this side than the other side. It's like little inconveniences. All these weapons I can jump off, by the way, or slide off, which is good to know. So see how these are jutting out? So if I want to hit like an angled slide through this corridor, it's doable. But the other side, it's smoother. Putting that aside, though, there is some pretty cool and crazy movement on this map that'll really kind of separate the movement kings from the peasants, I guess. I don't know, like right down to the opening strat. Like this block is sort of maximum height to curb slide off of. As an opening strat, if you've got perfect movement, you slide jump, hit the edge of this, edge line up curb slide, hold crouch after you jump. You can skip your clamber straight to mid and challenge OS with like a pre-nade right off the bat. So fastest, most effective route to OS on the map, hands down. It works on both sides. That's satisfying to pull off, and only somebody who knows how to perfectly edge line up curb slide. You gotta land on the edge and sort of just nick it and fall off slide. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of experience to hit that on command. There are other ways to challenge, like I can slide down, drop to this box, and curb slide off this. I'm in an open angle, like sight line with whoever does the same thing the entire time. Something to keep in mind. While I'm up here, I can hit the curb slide earlier from this box and maybe chain slide through, sort of. See how this is lower? Way more convenient to jump off of and jump around and slide off that. While I'm here, I can jump up to the in-between of this, like, crate. This is a nice sneaky way to challenge, and it works on both sides. Just kind of a convenient way to set up the jumps. You've got your jump up to top tower, which is a crouch jump skip that you can approach from both sides. There's a lot of forced clambers or almost forced clambers on this map. That's another thing I don't really like about this. Like, here, this right here, much more convenient to skip, right? It's slightly shorter. But there's a lot of forced clambers where I feel like it would just be intuitive to have, like, maybe a tiny little ledge in this area that I could, like, crouch jump to and then jump up again, you know? So I can create some sort of a creative dynamic. Do I want the longer route and keep my gun ready? Or do I want the faster route and take the risk? Well, I'm up here. This is step jump height. So I could like crouch and peek step jump. Some sort of nerdy ideas. And then we've got what I think is the craziest slide on the map. This is an edge lineup slide. It has to be perfect. And it sends you all the way across the map to the plasma maze. The angle of my left stick is 11 o'clock, like 10, 11 o'clock as I ride the edge of this with like my heels. Perfectly timed crouch on the way down and then hit jump to slide and like ego challenge across the map. And this edge lineup technique also allows me to hit slides off really high ledges like this if I want to get through here, or again, off of some sort of an opening strat, if I can kind of hit a lineup like that and come through this way. It's a tricky technique. It's just the process of being on this ledge starts the origin of my slide from a lower point. if that makes sense. So I sprint forward, turn off, and the origin of the slide starts from a lower point, making that curb slide possible. Another place I can't skip clamber, by the way, which once again, I just find annoying. Like, the only sort of saving grace to this is the fact that it forces you to use the repulse. And the repulse kind of has a cool feature where you don't have to look down very far or jump repulse, and you'll get up perfectly to some of these lower ledges. So it kind of allows us to use the repulse in a sort of intuitive, like inventive way, but it's not how I want to be using the repulse because I'm forced to, you know? This is one of the better jumps in the map. Just sprint, repulse, jump together at the same time for the highest altitude jump, and then hold crouch, and you'll skip straight to tower. Instead, with the repulse, I wish we went for more creative ideas, like an off-map opportunity. Like right here, you've got this like really cool play space. Like maps need more shit like this, I think, where I'm risking my life to finesse somebody out here. If this roof wasn't above me and there was a way to jump out, repulse up at the risk of my life, like that would be satisfying, right? Like these are the kind of dynamics that I wish we were creating, is like highly risky, stylish, satisfying jumps. Anyway, that's it for Fortress for now as well. I still think the map is a fun time and looking forward to seeing how it plays. I'll show some flag runs here too.
Relocation. They know where you are. You are exposed, Spartan. Flag. Flag needs relocation. You are exposed, Spartan. They know where you are. Use extreme caution. You are exposed, Spartan. Flag capture.
And that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. If you guys want to keep up with me, by the way, I've started streaming on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. I know we got a lot to look forward to with Halo Esports in 2025. I want to do my best to kind of cover everything. We've got events, we got scrims, we got the conclusion of Roster Mania, right? So I plan to cover that on my YouTube live stream and Twitch, so there's a broadcast kind of left behind to keep up with me. At the same time, I want to thank my Patreon subscribers. Thank you so much for continuing to support me. Despite the channel going down, I will be continuing to add content to the platform. I just added a coaching session with Halo Pro Suspector. We're going to work with Suspector more. We had a long, very insightful discussion. He's an excellent coach. So stay tuned for more coaching content, and that'll go up on Patreon as well. And in the meantime, if you want more content from me right here, this is the way.